Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Young Professionals Choral Collective podcast, also known as the Collective Voice. My name is Abby Dreith. I am your host, and I have a very special guest. We have Guy Holloway with the YPCC board. So, Guy, give us a little fun fact about yourself, how long you've been with YPCC, a little bit about what you do.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks for having me, Abby. And that's the first time anybody has ever said my name like that. So I kind of like it. But I've been singing with YPCC since 2018. YPCC is one of the things that put Cincinnati on the map for me. So I've been singing since 2018. And then I've been on the board for the last 2 years, and I'm the external VP for the board. So I do a lot of, helping people get connected with the board and things like that. So and then
Period.
my fun fact is that in between graduating college and starting my first big kid job, I was in the interview process for a couple of jobs. I had a friend be like, "You should come teach English in Spain with me instead." And I said, "Say less." And so I dropped out of the interview processes and I went and I was a primary school teacher for like a year in Madrid, Spain.
Like you do, like one does. That is
Like one
actually
does.
really. Yeah. Yeah, so how long were you a primary school teacher there?
It just was like 1 year. It was like a quick thing, and then I came back and I started work, but it was a nice in between college and, like, starting my big kid job, so
Yeah. Not now, sweetie. Mommy's in Madrid, Spain, teaching English for a year.
mommy's gotta go to
That's
Europe for a year.
yes. Yep. Okay, so today is a very fun segment. It's learning some history. If you're a history girly, for Pride Month, I've decided to gather 5 music figures in history, one representing each initial in the LGBTQ acronym, kind of reading a little bit about them, and then kind of having you provide color commentary, learning, reacting. So I'm really excited because some of these, girl, they're messy, you
And I'm
know.
here you see, I brought my teacup and everything, so
Yes, yes. Yeah, no, I'm excited because the first one, she's a bit of a mess, but we love her dearly. Our first one is going to be for the L letter, lesbian, and that is Dame Ethel Smyth. Have you heard of her?
No, I haven't.
So she lived from 1858 to 1944. So in the middle of like the romantic era towards 20th century. And she is from England, obviously, because she's a dame. And she was actually a part of the women's suffrage movement in England, which is
Alright.
pretty sick. Ethel is a Taurus.
Taurus Club. I'm also a Taurus.
Oh my God, me too. I'm a May Taurus. There is another Taurus on here, so we have our Taurus representation on here. That's for sure. She's done a little bit of everything, but she never really peak of her career because she was a woman. People were like, not the logical sex,
Hate it when that
writing
happens.
music. But so basically, she kind of came from like, I guess, like a middle class family. Her dad was a major general in the Royal Artillery and did not like her pursuing music, but she learned a lot about Wagner and Berlioz, their music, and then went to the Leipzig Conservatory. And she actually got to meet Clara Schumann and Brahms.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, she got to meet them, and that will kind of tie into something a little bit later if you know the history between Clara and Brahms.
A little bit, but not
That's
super
okay,
well.
okay. Okay, in a nutshell, Clara Schumann was married to Robert Schumann, who was actually her, like, teacher, and he's, like, 12 years older than her, and he went crazy and went to the ward, and Brahms kind of took care of Clara during that time. Of course, it is alleged whether or not there was an actual, like, physical relationship between the two of them, but the correspondence, the letters, the receipts are a little detailed.
I was gonna say, not the detailed
And also,
receipt.
Brahms was 9 years younger than Clara. I think around 9 years younger. So
Cougar. He's gonna go get him.
basically, I mean, yeah. So it looks like her first big work that's kind of listed on the Wikipedia page is Mass in D, which is it has choral singers, soloists, orchestra, things like that, which is actually really cool. But I wanted to kind of notate 2 operas that she did. She did one called The Wreckers, released or that was premiered in 1906. Let me pull Let me pull the page for her real quick. It's about what was it? The tale of Cornish villagers who lured passing sailing ships onto the rugged coast, and the cargoes would be plundered. So, like, it's basically about Cornish pirates, which I can only imagine what they would be like. And apparently, the initial premiere was like an absolute disaster because, woman, they're not going to give her all the good resources. Apparently, in 1907, Gustav Mahler was considering putting on a production of it. And then it seems that the Vienna State Opera just kind of like scared him away. Which, how can you scare away Mahler of
I
all
was gonna say,
people?
like, you're gonna scare away Mahler, of all people.
You must have really done something. But another one I wanted to bring up was Der Wald, which means the forest, which is a one-act opera she wrote with librettist Henry Brewster. He will come into the story later.
Okay.
And I wanted to bring up the very dated review for it because this came out like 1903. And so somebody wrote in the Telegraph, "This little woman writes music with the masculine hand and has a sound and logical brain, such as is supposed to be the especial gift of the rougher sex. There is not weak or effeminate note in Der Wald, nor an unstable sentiment." Like,
What?
okay.
Just what did they say about her brain?
No, she has a masculine hand. So it's like they're basically like, well, it's good because she writes like a man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, she writes like a man, but, like, what was the term that they used to describe her brain? Pretty?
Sound and logical.
Oh,
Sound and
sound
logical.
and logical. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
The charm and quaintness of it will appeal more than its attempt to mirror intense human emotion, and to this extent it is feminine, according to all tradition.
All
Girl,
tradition, wow.
girl,
She
whatever.
was really ruffling some feathers.
Yeah, no, they were just kind of like, they were like, some people were saying it's too emotional because it was written by a
Mm.
woman, but then they were also saying it's not emotional enough. It was really weird, but basically it was about a poor family that lived in the forest. Like there's like a young woodcutter and the woodman, his daughter is like betrothed. There's a mistress involved.
Yes, indeed, there is always a mistress.
Mhm. Nonetheless, she was a very renowned composer. It looked like a lot of her works, did make traction back in the day, like towards later in her life, so like the 20th century. And then, of course, posthumously, a lot of her work has been performed. A critical reception just in the general, like her general career. It again, it's the same notes of she was alternately praised and panned for writing music that was considered too masculine, which sounds a little lesbian. Love that.
Yeah.
And apparently also wrote some risque themes into her stuff, but this is where things get interesting. So,
Get more interesting?
her personal life is a mess, girl. Oh, things get messier. So she's studying under a man named Heinrich von Herzogenberg. She met someone who would become a close friend and a mentor, his wife. Ironically enough, she did not get involved with this wife, but another one. Her name is Elizabeth or Liesel, which I will call her Liesel for now. She introduced her to the husband of her sister, Julia, who the husband is named Henry Brewster, who I mentioned a little bit earlier. He was the librettist that worked with her a lot. And in her relationship with Henry, consisting in part of many thousands of letters sent between the pair, a love triangle formed between the two of them and his wife, Julia. According to Ethel, the marriage between Henry and Julia was by design flimsy and dissolvable. And
That's a way
thus
to describe
Harry
marriage.
it gets weirder. And thus Harry sought a harmonious dissolution of their union so that he may pursue a relationship with Ethel. So
What?
it's not even Ethel going after the wife, it's the husband going after Ethel.
I was gonna say, like, that also wasn't how I thought it was
Yeah.
gonna go. I thought she was gonna go after Ethel, but
Yeah.
now it's Henry
No,
going
well,
after.
it's researching her, it was a little dicey on whether or not she fits the lesbian or the bisexual category because she does eventually get into a relationship with Henry. But I feel like I The reason why I put her in for lesbian is because it's later in life that she kind of comes to this realization that she has more kinship to women. But just know that sexuality, you do not have to fully conform to the label. Not everything is exclusive and all that. And we learned from Dame Ethel Smyth.
We sure do.
Oh, yes, we do. So it is clear that Henry supported this idea, and in letters written near the time of Julia's death, so the wife, he expressed a distaste for monogamy and frustration as to its insistence. So he and Ethel were kind of like non monogamous. It is likely, however, Julia, so the wife, did not agree to this weakened matrimonial bond. So, like, she probably did not fully agree to a divorce. And that really harmed Ethel's relationship with the whole family. But they were not, like, they all had a falling out. And then the two wives, they died. So she remained close to Henry up until his death. But in 1884, in the height of the love triangle thing, Ethel spoke about how the best happiness that she narrowly missed regarding a relationship with Henry significantly impacted her ability to write music, as she says that she composes best when she is happiest, which I'm going to be so for real. I cannot believe for a second, because if you know a thing or two about the breakup albums that have been coming out by all the pop artists, that like they're just fire. And then when people like, meet somebody and they're happy and whatever, and they release an album, like, oh, I'm so happy, and it's not as good.
Yeah, it's not as
You're
good.
Swift.
She made her money
Sure.
off of breakup albums, come on.
Ethel, what are we doing? Talking about I compose best when I'm happiest. Like, if we talked about the type of stuff you've composed, about Cornish pirates and forest spirits and stuff like that, I don't know why you would be happy about that.
I was gonna say there's no way that
So
came from being good.
she would later be granted her wish when, after a time of low correspondence with Henry and after the death of Liesel, who's not the wife that she got in a love triangle with, she decided she would forsake her inhibitions and her concern for Julia. At some point, Harry and Julia did dissolve their marriage, although it was unclear when, and she got into a full relationship with Henry. Girl. This relationship would become central to her life and inspire many of her creative works, though for a time they abstained from an intimate relationship.
Love.
So she pursued a relationship with Henry that was not intimate in any way, shape, or form. She described that she did not feel the need for that sort of relationship because she felt that her musical career satisfied the same desire in a more dignified and self-controlled way.
I wish my career satisfied me the same way. I
In
don't
this
know if I'm allowed to say
economy,
that, but yeah.
but they never got married. And then they did eventually consummate their relationship, but like, they just were dating the whole time. They didn't even like get married. Although Ethel had a serious physical relationship with Henry, she placed a higher emphasis on personal relationships when it came to romance, thus felt a closer kinship to women. She wrote to him in 1892, I wonder why it is so much easier for me to love my own sex more passionately than yours. I can't make it out, for I am a very healthy-minded person.
And they say as much in the review that she had a very sound mind or something.
Yeah, she wrote too masculine.
Too masculine, so never
She
mind.
she was giving Butch Queen.
But Queen.
Yeah, Butch Queen, according to like the Daily Mail, like 150 years ago. At the age of 71, she fell in love. This is the most lesbian thing you could ever do. She fell in love with Virginia Woolf, which is the most lesbian thing you could do. This is why she's on this list. This is why she's in the L category. Because, and
Big L
both of
category.
them worked in the women's suffrage movement, and who, both alarmed and amused, said it was like being caught by a giant crab, but the two became friends. Darn.
Yeah.
They became best friends, and they just happened to live in the same house forever.
They were
And then
roommates.
she also started a relationship with Violet Gordon, or her relationship with Violet Gordon Woodhouse, she's a British keyboard player, like harpsichord, all that, was depicted satirically in Roger Scruton's 2005 opera Violet, which I'm very intrigued to see what that's about. If it's going to be satirical in like a happy pride kind of way, or satirical in a not good way. I
Yeah.
mean, it was 2005, so it's like a toss-up on whether or not. Apparently, she also met Willie Wilde, who's the brother of Oscar Wilde, during a trip to Ireland, and they became engaged on the return railway journey from Holyhead to Euston, but she broke it off within 3 weeks.
That is
I
tough,
imagine
Mr. Wilde.
the queers are all just kind of like in a queer, extended universe, 'cause
Just like, but you really met all of them, so
Yes! Yes! Um In recognition of her work as a composer and writer, she was made a Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 1922, becoming the first female composer to do so. She, of course, received honorary doctorates in music from the universities of Durham and Oxford, and then she died in 1944 at the age of 86. So, dang girl, that's long for that time.
Jesus.
This is also good. Another very lesbian trait to have. Smith was actively involved in sport throughout her life. In her youth, she was a keen horse rider and tennis player. She was a passionate golfer and a member of the ladies section of the Woking Golf Club near where she lived. After she died and was cremated, her ashes were, as she had requested, scattered in the woods neighboring the club by her brother Bob. Her musical executor was the composer and musicologist Kathleen Dale, a close neighbor. So she was golfing. She was getting engaged to renowned gay writers and falling in love with Virginia Woolf. Like, what else could you do in your life? So, yeah, a lot of her music has kind of shown up posthumously. It is definitely like picked up the pace. And yeah, she's definitely more recorded than I would say. Our next person is actually not as well recorded in history, even though he's a lot more recent. So, moving to our gay music figure, we have Julius Eastman. I wouldn't bank on you knowing him.
No.
That's okay. He's kind of the deeper cut that I have on here. He was born on October 27th, 1940 and lived until May 28th, 1990 at the age of 49. That makes him a Scorpio.
But that's so funny. I was, like, literally sitting here thinking, it's like, what does that make him? What does that make Julius? Makes him a
Yeah, no, he's a
Scorpio, so
Scorpio. Which I would say makes sense. Very much doing my research, he's very much a guy who did a lot of things before it was cool and got a lot of flack for it when he did it in the moment, but he did not live a very long life, of course, passing away at 49, but posthumously. A like, he is known a lot more. He was born in New York City and grew up in Ithaca, and he was known and specialized in experimental music. So he got a little experimental with it. He toured New York, Buffalo, and Chicago as a vocalist, conductor, musician, and he throughout the 1970s expressed himself in terms of race, sexual orientation, or at least both in one performance as the gay gorilla. So he was very much he was doing that. He was openly gay and things like that in the 70s before it was cool. So he was raised in Ithaca. He had a younger brother, Jerry, who also did more musical work as well. And then he studied at Ithaca College before transferring to the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia. He studied piano with a Polish and American pianist. He made his debut as a pianist in 1966 at the Town Hall in New York City. Eastman had a rich, deep, and extremely flexible singing voice, for which he became noted in 1973's Nonsuch recording of 8 songs for a Mad King by the British composer Peter Maxwell Davies. He was eventually scouted by Lucas Foss, who encouraged him to join the Brooklyn Philharmonic.
here.
He joined the Creative Associates, which is an avant-garde classical music group at the SUNY Buffalo Center for Creative and Performing Arts. During this period, he met Peter Kotik, a Czech-born composer, conductor, and flutist. So, along with Kotik, Julius Eastman founded the SEM Ensemble. Although I pulled up the SEM Ensemble and they only credited Peter Kotik as the founder of it. Weird.
Yeah.
That's suspicious. Julius Eastman did eventually run into some controversy, performed a controversially ribald performance of John Cage's Alley Work songbooks by the SEM Ensemble, ribald as in very risque. It included nudity interpolated by Eastman.
Nudity on
Yeah.
stage. Whoa.
John Cage By the way, composer of one of the most beautiful lyrical melodical pieces of all time, 4 minutes and 33 seconds. He was incensed and said during an ensuing lecture that Eastman ego is closed in on homosexuality. Clocked him.
Yeah, I was gonna say got him.
Yeah, unfortunately clocked him. And we know this because he has no other idea to express. Additionally, Eastman's friend Kyle Gann has speculated that his inability to acclimate to the more bureaucratic elements of academic life, including paperwork, may have hastened his departure from the university. So, Eastman, he was very much kind of like a tortured genius type, not necessarily, I guess, like tortured genius, but more like getting more into the art rather than there's some things where you talk less, smile more, which of course people nowadays kind of praise him for his, controversial but stellar works that he either performed, interpreted, or the works that he's composed. He does have some notable works. I would like to express that I will not be saying the title of these works because they have incorporated some words, but again, you can look them up on Wikipedia. But the one that I will express is the Gay Gorilla, which was a big one. That one that came out in 1979, and that appropriates Martin Luther, him, the guy who basically, I guess, invented Protestantism. A mighty fortress is our God, and he interpreted that or appropriated that as a gay manifesto.
Okay.
He said, if I'm going to take you to church, I am going to be taking you to church. Uh,
Agenda.
but Eastman said that Northwestern University regarded the series, in which the names I will not be saying, titles as derogatory, but he was trying to kind of use it as like a form of art and a reclamation of, a lot of the past things that he was referring to when it comes to the historical accomplishments and hardships of Black people. So overall, like very out there, very direct, but you got to use into it. So he was also in a jazz ensemble with his brother, and he also played in and conducted the Brooklyn Philharmonia's CETA orchestra, and he also coordinated the Philharmonia's community concert series in conjunction with Foss, who's the flutist guy, and other composers of color. By 1980, he was regularly touring across the United States and internationally. A recording of a performance from that year at Northwestern University was released on the posthumous compilation Unjust Malaise. So, unfortunately for him, he during the early 80s ran out of a lot of professional opportunities. Not a lot of them were coming to fruition or were being offered to him, and he actually was evicted from his apartment in the early 80s. While homeless, he briefly took refuge in the Tompkins Square Park and did become, unfortunately, very dependent on substances. Despite a temporary attempt at a comeback, Eastman died alone at the age of 49 in the Millard Fillmore Hospital in Buffalo, New York. And his obituary was not actually posted until about 8 months later
8 months?
by
What?
Kyle Gann.
Okay.
So Kyle Gann was like one of his good friends, and he posted the obituary 8 months later. While Eastman's death certificate cited cardiac arrest, sources speculate and differ as to whether his death may have been due to complications of HIV and AIDS. So, it wasn't like during that time, those types of things that were happening a lot, but like they never really wrote in like the cause of death. Like, I guess for example, Freddie Mercury, I guess they never really like wrote it down as like his cause of death, but it is widely speculated. Same with a lot of artists and people, particularly gay men back in the 80s. They would say, oh, cardiac arrest or heart attack or something, something, but usually could be, seen as most likely something to do with HIV and AIDS. So, since then, his artistic legacy, the composer Mary Jane Leach did find scores by Eastman and posted them to her website, but they are now available through a publisher. And the publisher, G. Schirmer, announced that they will restore, reconstruct, publish, and promote his music in collaboration with his estate, managed by Julius's brother. So, it's a very sad ending for Julius, I guess, in his life, but posthumously, it seems like his work is really living on. And some of the most recent performances include 2 years ago in Melbourne, the Astra Chamber Music Society gave a premiere of 4 of his works. So as recent as 2 years ago, his stuff is still being performed all around the world. I would love to listen to more of his music. So the next figure is from my neck of the woods, bisexual.
On the
So you know it's gonna be a mess, girl.
we're here for it.
So she actually is the out of all 5 of these people that we're covering, she actually lived, like, the earliest in history, in the 1600s. But,
The
like, every
$1,600s?
her bisexuality was very much recorded.
Could you
And
imagine being so bisexual that it transcends history? Like, it was recorded in history, and then now
he
here.
did drag.
Whoa! Alright,
He also did
alright.
drag, kind of. I guess it's considered drag. Cross-dressing. She was a cross-dresser. So her name is Julie d'Aubigny. She also went by Mademoiselle Maupin or La Maupin. And so she lived from 1673 to 1707. Her zodiac sign is not listed. It seemed like they did not record birthdays back then. But maybe at the end, if you want to speculate, like, this is such Leo energy or something like that, we will definitely do that.
Oh my gosh. Let me get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, well, let's do a little bit of investigating. So she was a French opera singer. So she did not compose anything, but she was a very renowned opera singer, crossdresser, fencer,
Hey.
and woman stealer, kind of. So her life was actually the inspiration or loosely inspiration of Théophile Gautier's 1835 novel Mademoiselle de Maupin. And that's like a whole other book that kind of like takes artistic licensing, which I mean, if once we learn about her life, you don't really need a lot of that. So she was born in 1673 to a man who is a secretary to the Master of the Horse for King Louis XIV.
To know what that job entails. Well, I mean, I guess taking
I
care of the
think just like
horse,
taking
but
care of the horses.
what a title.
Yeah. Her father, who trained court pages, took care of her education by teaching her academic subjects of the type given to boys, but also trained her in fencing, which she gained competence from the age of 12, competing successfully against men. At the age of 14, she unfortunately became her fencing instructor's mistress. Gross. Gross.
Took
Yeah.
a crazy twist very early.
There's gonna be more. There's gonna be more.
Whoa.
That year in 1687, the same guy that she was a mistress for arranged her to be married to Sieur de Maupin of Saint-Germain-en-Laye, and she became Madame de Maupin or La Maupin for French custom. Soon after the wedding, her husband received an administrative position south of France, but the Count, the guy that she was the mistress of, kept her in Paris for his own purposes. Gross. Ew.
Yeah, I was like, that's kinda crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine being like, okay, so I'm hooking up with you, but I'm also gonna like set you up to be married to this guy.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but like he's gonna get a job and move away, but I want you still here.
Yeah, like,
Ew.
yeah, that's yeah.
Ew. Around 1687, Daubigny became involved within an assistant fencing master named Sauron.
Sauron.
Sauron, yeah. When the lieutenant general of police tried to apprehend Sauron for killing a man in an illegal duel, they fled the city to the countryside. During this period, Julie and Sauron made a living by giving fencing exhibitions and singing in taverns at the local fairs. While traveling and performing in these impromptu shows, Julie dressed in traditionally male clothes.
Whoa.
So she did a bit of drag. Upon arrival in Marseille, she joined the opera company, singing under her maiden name. During this time, this is my favorite story about her, by the way. You're not ready.
I don't think I
During this time, Julie began her first sapphic relationship with a young woman. The young woman's parents sent their daughter away to a convent and prevented the two from contacting each other. So, oh, you're hooking up with this girl. That's heretical. Go to a convent.
get thee to a
Uh,
nunnery.
yeah. Julie followed her and tried to enter the convent as a postulant, which is basically somebody who's like, help, I'm sinful, I want to become a nun. So like turning themselves in to become a nun. In order to run away with her new love, she stole the body of a dead nun, placed it in the bed of her lover, and set the room on fire before escaping.
If you ever wanted to be with somebody so bad that you set the room on fire.
Yeah, get you a girl who can commit arson for
I
you.
yeah, nobody's committed arson for me yet, so I have a new threshold for dating.
Arson may or may not be a deal breaker. Also, they broke up a few months after that.
Okay, could you imagine setting the room, like, and she killed her husband, right?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
they're still married.
Oh, whoa.
So
Okay,
this
so
whole time she's been married.
that's crazy. So set the room on fire to be with this woman, break up 3 months later, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, here's the thing. So the plan was for the burned body to be mistaken for that of the young woman, but the plot was uncovered. Julie was charged in absentia as a man with in absentia. She wasn't there for the trial for kidnapping, body snatching, and arson, and failing to appear before the tribunal and sentenced to death by burning.
Oh my god.
Uh, she does get pardoned
Whoa.
by King Louis the 14th-ish because she returns to Paris for singing, and she sings so good, and she's like, "Please, can I get a pardon?" And the king's like, "Okay, you sing okay, so that's fine." In an inn in Villeperdu, she met a young Comte d'Albert who mistook her for a man. They dueled, and she won. He was wounded, and she nursed him back to health, and then they became lovers briefly.
What?
So she basically almost kills him and is like, "Oh, no, wait, don't worry. Actually, I'm gonna help you, and then we're gonna kiss now." Uh,
Actually, you're kinda,
yeah, wait, hold on. They briefly became lovers, but then after that, they were actually lifelong friends. At this time, Julie sought professional singing lessons from a middle-aged musician and actor named Marshall, who, impressed by her talent, encouraged her to apply to the Paris Opera. The Paris Opera did initially reject her, but then they hired her later, and she befriended an elderly singer, Bouvard. He and Denevard convinced Jean-Nicolas de Francine, master of the king's household, to accept her into the company. Basically, like, hey, can we hire her? Even though she's committed crimes. And she debuted at the Palace Athena in Cadmus et Hermione by Jean-Baptiste Lully the same year. Jean-Baptiste Lully was actually going to be one of the people I covered, but they're already too close in history, so I wanted to switch it up. Basically, I learned that he died from piercing himself with his conductor's baton.
I don't even know what to say to that. Like, what?
Well, he was queer, but yeah, yeah, that's how you do it, getting an infection from piercing yourself
Like,
in the
could you imagine, like, you pass, like, that's how you go, and then, like, somebody has to tell, like, your friends or, like, your parents or, like, that's how
man,
you end?
man. So she performed regularly with the opera from 1690 to 1694, first singing in major productions as a soprano, but later more in her natural contralto range. So she was a contralto represent because yeah, in where are they?
We
Come
all
out
wanna
of the
know.
woods.
We're all dying to know.
Yeah, where come out of the woods, come out of the covens, come out of the lesbian bars. Come
Come
on.
out of the lesbian bars, come out of the covens, yes, please.
Yes, please. We need to hear more of them because I never really got into like professional vocal performance. You probably know some people who got into that. There are 3 times the amount of sopranos than there are for any other role.
Right.
And I'm like, where's the contraltos? Where's the contralto roles?
We
Come on, guys.
we wanna know, and listen, altos and contraltos have a very special place in my heart. My mom sang in the praise team, and she always would sing alto, and then at one
Period.
point, she was asked to sing tenor so she could swing down there too, so
Yeah. So there were other biographical accounts of her fencing and dueling people. My favorite one, I guess, from her fencing years were on one occasion with 3 noblemen in the same evening after she kissed a young woman at the ball that those 3 men were trying to get with. She beat them all in a duel and then also was kind of needed to get pardoned for that too.
God, slay. No, like, literally slay.
Literally slay, but like almost. And then she did also continue to wear male gendered clothing in public and have relationships with both men and women. She eventually went into a relationship with probably like what is considered like her best relationship with Madame la Marquise de Florensac, and they were together for quite a few years. And unfortunately, Madame la Marquise de Florensac, she passed away in 1705, and Julie was just very, like, was grieving. So she said, with whom, like, the relationship was described as dwelt in such affection they believed to be perfect. But Julie retired from the opera and then took refuge in a convent where she is believed to have died in 1707 at the age of 33. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, in her short 33 years, she really did it all. She
Yeah,
fenced. She
she
was it almost.
yeah, she 1694 is, like, the last year that she performed with the Paris Opera. She was 21 years old.
What? That is so young.
Yeah, she got married at 15.
But and she was a mistress at 14 too, right?
Yeah, but girl, she a victim.
No,
That's
she is, like, that's crazy.
yeah.
You're married, but your husband's gotta go away the heck over there,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you gotta stay here? No, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yup. Yeah, that
So
33. That
so the
who's, like, 33 now?
I'm 32.
Oh, so you have 1 year left.
I know, so
Where's the fencing?
I'm
Where's
so
the
glad I got to
drag?
do this.
Yeah.
But, like, so she fenced, was almost a nun, set fire to her room,
No, she did become a nun the last 2 years
did
of her
become a
life.
nun, yes, okay, so check, put that on the list of things that she
Yeah.
did. Like, men, women,
When she was married the whole time.
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. I have not done as much as she had at this point of my life.
Well, this was also, like, the 1700s, like, you were gonna die at 35 anyways,
Right.
or you would have been considered geriatric at that point if you somehow lived to, like, 40.
Gosh. Is it
Whoa,
even
real
geriatric?
old. So, love her, diva,
Icon.
yeah, she is the moment. After reading Julie's biography, what's the zodiac sign? What are we thinking?
Oh my gosh. Julie? I mean, I it has to be something spicy. Like,
Like, a defined like,
I
are we
mean,
thinking, like, fire
I hate to
sign?
say Aries, right? Or like a sun
Oh!
fire sign, but like, like she was dueling people. She literally set stuff on fire.
Yeah.
That sounds spicy, so
Yeah, it seems like Aries energy, but with chaotic placements. Like, she's gonna
mm.
have, like, a crazy moon sign and a crazy rising sign and, like
But yeah, she's got something stacked beyond
yeah,
just her sun sign.
she's got something crazy. The next person that I have, you might know her. It's okay if you don't. So for our T, for, the dolls, we have a wonderful doll who is an absolute pioneer in electronic music and became the first trans woman, at least not out at the time, to win a Grammy Award, and her name is Wendy Carlos.
I have
So,
Wendy Carlos. I feel like I should have.
she did the score for A Clockwork Orange
Yes.
and The Shining and Tron, the original 1980s Tron.
Got it. Okay, yes,
Uh,
I have all of those.
yeah. In my research, I came across her website and it's so cute because it has not been updated since like 2007. So she was born in 1939 and she's still alive.
Wow.
So she's still kicking, but since 2010 or so, she's now very private, very reclusive about. She is from Rhode Island. She pursued a hybrid major in music and physics at Brown University, which kind of like, I guess, combines the two things that she's well known for, which is electronic music. Like she was people say she is like the silent pioneer of modern electronic music. Like a lot of the stuff that she has done is still used today. So she also partnered with Robert Moog for the Moog synthesizer, which is the first commercially available keyboard instrument. So her first big hit was in the 60s where she did an electronic synthesizer version of pieces from Johann Sebastian Bach, and the album was called Switched on Bach.
My
And
gosh. I love box so much. That sounds so cool.
you'll love it. Well, the thing is, it is hard to find her music actually available online because she is very reclusive about it, and she will strike down on copyright things. Like you can only get it via CD, but if you ever happen to find one or happen to take a gander, I've listened to a little bit of it. It's really fun. It's just an absolutely it's really cute and all the different sounds and hollowness and tone of the synthesizer is really cute and I really like it. And she actually went on to win 3 Grammys for that. So she won Album of the Year for Classical, Best Classical Performance, Instrumental Solo or Soloist with or without Orchestra, and Best Engineered Recording Classical. So like classical is a completely separate category from like non-classical, like your conventional stuff that people see at the Grammys. But yeah, first album of the year classical, period.
Music.
So during that time, she started working on that before she came out as trans. But her story is actually really interesting because, looking at it and looking at today's climate, it's very different. It seems like the general consensus is that people are actually just accepting of her or more so just indifferent. So Carlos became aware of her gender dysphoria at an early age, recalling, I was about 5 or 6. I remember being convinced I was a little girl, much preferring long hair and girls' clothes, and not knowing why my parents didn't see it clearly. While at Brown, she went on a date with a girl and felt so jealous of her, I was beside myself. Love that.
Love that. Yes.
Diva. Sometime after entering graduate school at Columbia University in 1962, she encountered the studies of trans issues for the first time, which explained to her what she was feeling. In the summer of 1966, New York sexologist Harry Benjamin published his landmark book, The Transsexual Phenomenon, which is a title of the time, describing and explaining affirmative treatment paths he pioneered. In the fall of 1967, Carlos began counseling with him. By early 1968, she had begun hormone replacement treatment under Benjamin's care, which began altering her appearance, which kind of created some problems because that's when Switched on Bach became a huge hit, and then people wanted to do appearances with her, and she wasn't out yet. Um,
Time for all
prior
that
to
you did.
yeah, prior to a live performance of excerpts from the album with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, Carlos was apprehensive about appearing in public. She did put on fake sideburns and a man's wig and drew on facial hair with an eyebrow pencil to appear more masculine. I guess, in a sense, pulling a page from Julie's book, but for a for a more for a more justifiable reason
Sure.
with that sort of stuff. Did the same thing again when she met Stanley Kubrick and for an appearance on the Dick Cavett Show in 1970. Finally, the commercial success of Switched on Bach allowed Carlos the funds to undergo feminizing surgery in May 1972. Although for marketing reasons, she released 2 more albums under her dead name, Switched on Bach 2 and By Request. And then eventually she did disclose her trans status in a series of interviews with Arthur Bell held between December 1978 and January 1979, and in May of that year in an issue of Playboy magazine.
All right. Come on, Playboy.
Period. She explained in Playboy that she had always been concerned with liberation and I was anxious to liberate myself. In 1985, Carlos spoke about the reaction to her transition. The public turned out to be amazingly tolerant, or if you wish, indifferent. There had never been any need of this charade to have taken place. It had proven a monstrous waste of years of my life. So, it seemed like, in a sense, coming out, people are like, "Oh, okay." And
How it should be.
she felt like, hiding a lot of it. She was really scared about it. Again, justifiably so, but she kind of felt like it was a waste cuz she's like, "Well, maybe I didn't have to do all that." Which I just find so interesting considering again, today's climate cuz it's very different today.
Yeah, well, that was my reaction too when you said that. I was like in the 70s, like that's kind of crazy because like it really is, just there's so much talk around it today and it seems like it's a much bigger deal than it really needs to be. For in the
Yeah.
70s, she just kind of did it and people were like, okay, heard.
So her first album after the Playboy interview, switched on Brandenburgs. So she did all the Bach Brandenburg concertos on
Amazing. Love those. Love
synthesizer,
the Brandenburg concertos.
and subsequent releases and re-releases have been issued under her name, Wendy Carlos. But um, apparently there was a biography that came out and she didn't like it. But something else notable on top of working on A Clockwork Orange, The Shining, and Tron, she did Peter and the Wolf with Weird Al Yankovic.
Weird Al.
Mhm.
That I mean, that must have been a really cool partnership though.
Yeah, again, it's so hard to find copies of her music, but for anybody who is listening and is interested in Wendy Carlos, her website is still up. Her website, again, that has not been remodeled in what I would presume is almost 20 years, is still up. She has pictures of, like she has pictures of her pets. She loves Siamese cats. She has a lot of like stuff and analyses about her music and like the computer stuff that she worked on. She was also really good at taking solar eclipse photos. That's like one of her hobbies. And that some of those images are on that website as well. So highly recommend. It's wendycarlos.com. She's a gem. She's a doll. She's the doll.
She's the I was gonna say, I'm about to go check her out after our chat today, like, she sounds so cool.
Yeah, it's just such a cute website too, because it's just graphic design is my passion, is what I'm gonna tell you.
I'm also, like, looking at Wendy's website right now. My
Mhm.
god. I just need to like, because 'cause it's got, like, the wallpaper in the background with,
Yes!
like, the
Yep.
music snaps down the side, her with her cats. No, I mean, she is the doll.
Yes, she is absolutely adorable.
It's got, like, all the colored hearts, like, down the side and everything
Yes!
too.
Yes!
Oh my
It's so cute. Yeah, no, I had a grand old time when I did my research. I just kind of website and I clicked on it and I was like, so
it's
charming.
the official Wendy Carlos online information source.
Yes.
Amazing.
She did I think they have links to buy, like, physical copies of things. So, like, if I feel like anybody who's listening, like, if you know or have a big music nerd in your life, now you know what to get them for Christmas or for their birthday is a Wendy Carlos CD.
It's 'cause I have a couple EDM
Abs
bands in my life, so I might be giving them this, so
Yeah, exactly. Wendy, by the way, is a Scorpio, which love her,
okay,
which makes sense because she is a recluse, and sometimes Scorpios can be very reclusive. Absolutely understandable, especially after leading such an illustrious career, and you have your preferences.
sure.
So the last person is our Q category, which I'm treating as my wild card, and I picked somebody who's done some musicals
Okay.
for you. So his name is Howard Ashman, and he is behind some absolute greats. He basically, people will credit him for the Disney Renaissance. So, like the late 80s, 90s, like all those movies and the music coming out for that.
Like
He
Hercules?
he did not do Hercules. He
Dang
actually,
it.
unfortunately, he passed away before Hercules, but Hercules is so good. I'm so ready for they're talking about a live action, and I'm like, because I have opinions,
I also have
and I have
opinions.
things I want to say. Who would you pick for, like, Hercules and Megara if you were Walt Disney's cryogenic head himself,
My god.
and you got to cast a live action Hercules, who'd you pick?
I have no idea. That would be so hard to pick. Well, also because I'm just, like, so partial to the original, and
I
Meg,
would
I
say
love her voice. Like, I love it so
yes.
much she's got that low alto, so I don't even know. Do you
Yes.
have people in mind that you would pick?
I have I only have one option for Megara, and this better happen, and that's Liz Gillies.
I don't think I know who Liz is.
Well, this is a Gen Z moment. She was on Victorious as the goth girl, and she has that good, like, similar timbre as Susan Egan, who voiced Megara in the original, and she also kinda has that, like, fun, like, that sultry look too, so, like,
Mm,
she would be a perfect fit.
I believe it. I'm ready for it.
She's
I'm
also
sold.
yeah, if you also look her up, she's done some collaborative work with, Seth MacFarlane, who created Family
Cool.
Guy. Yeah, it's really cool. So, Howard Ashman,
Yes.
he was born on May 17th, 1950, so another Taurus, and he wrote lyrics and composed with Alan Menken for a lot of the Disney Renaissance music. Yeah, he has been credited as the driving force behind the Disney Renaissance, mainly with he did Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and then Aladdin he started on, and then he passed away, but some of his work still went on to be a part of the project. So he was born in Baltimore, Maryland. He went to Boston University, where he earned his Bachelor of Arts in 1971. He also went on to get a Master of Fine Arts at Indiana University. So he worked as an editor for Grosset and Dunlap, which is a publishing house. His first two plays, because Maggie's Afraid of the Dark and Dream Stuff, were met with mixed reviews. So he started off with plays and playwriting. Then his play, The Confirmation, was produced in 1977 at Princeton's McCarter Theater and starred Herschel Bernardi. No, who is she?
Yeah.
But started his first work, you should know, you ought to know, Little Shop of Horrors,
Yes, I do know that one, yes.
the musical. Yep.
But not to, so
Yeah. Have you seen the movie?
no, I haven't.
So actually, what's really funny is I saw the Little Shop of Horrors movie before I saw the musical.
Okay.
And it's weird. I guess it's a little spoilery because, like, I mean, you know the musical,
Yes, I
obviously.
do, yeah.
Like, the plant, like, Audrey 2 takes over. But in the movie, they do an alternate ending where Seymour defeats Audrey 2.
Really?
And
Interesting.
yeah, they, like, move together, like, move in together and get married and stuff. So, like, it initially had a good ending, and then when I went to see the actual musical and, like, it just ended at Audrey 2 taking over everything, I was like, "That's it?
Yeah.
That's it?"
That was probably, like, a little confusing.
Yeah. It of course, that show became an off-Broadway hit, like, with a cult following, and then he went on to meet Jodie Benson, who, of course, voices Ariel in the original movie. He also created or he was a lyricist and book writer for the 1986 musical Smile, and apparently she flopped.
I was gonna say, I haven't heard of that
But
one, so
Ashman got a nomination for Best Book of a Musical for Smile. Also in 1986, Ashman wrote the screenplay for the film, The Little Shop of Horrors, as well as contributing 2 new songs. So there are 2 new songs in the movie. It's called Some Fun Now and Mean Green Mother from Outer Space. So the Mean Green Mother from Outer Space also got an Academy Award nomination. So he also was brought in to write the lyrics for Oliver and Company, which is that was, like, kind of like the last Disney movie before the Renaissance. He also worked with Tina Turner on a script, but it never came to fruition.
wait, that's such a fun little fact. What was it about? Do we know?
It doesn't say. I feel like if that did come to fruition, there would be a whole other, like, species of gay that would be on this planet
Yes.
right now. I mean, Tina Turner.
But I think you might be right, though, so
Yeah, yeah. No, that I feel like the, boomer gays back then would probably just lose their mind.
the boomer gays.
No, the movie. Well, I mean, it's the late '80s. So then he was offered to do several works for The Little Mermaid, which he chose to do, and he joined as producer and lyricist. Menken, who is his longtime collaborator, who did the music, the guy who also did the music for Little Mermaid. Ashman advocated for integrating the medium of animation with musicals. So that was kind of one of the first big musical animated movies. I mean, yeah, Snow White and Sleeping Beauty and stuff before it still had musical elements, but it was nowhere near what The Little Mermaid was because they had extensive musical numbers. Of course, Little Mermaid was released in 1989 and had huge success. He got 2 nominations for Golden Globes and 3 nominations at the Oscars, including 2 for Best Original Song. So 2 of the nominations were for The Little Mermaid, for Kiss the Girl and Under the Sea. Love that. But also, where's Poor Unfortunate Souls?
That's a great question. That song is very underrated.
Yeah. Where is she? They did actually win the Oscar for Under the Sea. So I'm like, okay. Okay. That's fine. So then afterwards, he actually pitched the idea of doing Aladdin into a musical because I think Aladdin was initially just either a story or just a musical. Like it wasn't like it wasn't what Disney made it to be. He also wrote a film treatment and a group of songs for that, as well as started and contributed a screenplay for Beauty and the Beast. So the wheels were turning, that's for sure. So afterwards, unfortunately, Howard Ashman passed away. Story underwent many changes for Aladdin, with several elements of the original treatment being dropped. Out of all the songs, 3 of Ashman's songs did end up in the finished film. During the early production, Ashman and Menken were approached to help reinvigorate and save the production of Beauty and the Beast because that was actually almost not going to happen.
Really? That is surprising because that's like, like one of the main Disney
Yeah.
princesses. That's
No, that
songs
almost
that
that
everybody
almost did
knows.
not happen because initially it wasn't gonna be a musical, which
Like, I can't
girl.
imagine it not a musical, so
Yeah. So then at that time, Howard Ashman's health was declining. Disney accommodated his illness by shifting much of the production to New York, where he lived. He completed the lyrics. Film was released mere months after his passing and was dedicated to him. So in his personal life, he met Stuart White, one of his first partners at a summer university program in 1969. Originally close friends, the two formed a bond which led to a relationship. They both completed master's degrees at Indiana University, moved to New York. They did eventually break up, but they did get reacquainted in 1983, shortly before Stuart White, not Howard Ashman's, his passing as a result of AIDS. And then he met Bill Lauk, who was his partner until Ashman's passing. Now, Ashman was diagnosed with HIV and AIDS in 1988 while working for Little Mermaid, but he still continued to write music. Disney created a production unit near his home in New York to allow him to continue working while undergoing treatment in hospital. And then unfortunately, he did pass away on March 14th, 1991 at the age of 40 prior to Beauty and the Beast completion, which led to him being dedicated for that. I find it very interesting to like him compared to Julius Eastman, who we talked about before. Like I can only imagine like during that time. And with Ashman, it's very different because he had more prominent connections and he also had the access and the privilege to get that diagnosis as compared to Eastman, who towards the end of his life was kicked out of his apartment. But I think seeing these two contrasting both wonderful artists, this has honestly just been one of my more fun research projects. If you have anything to add or anything you learned or what are your highlights?
no, I mean, I learned so much. Well, first thing, my first takeaway is that Taurus and Scorpios really they
Yeah.
got a lot going on.
It was kind of a it was kind of a coincidence that like they were like except for Julie because we don't know what she is. Like they're both Tauruses and Scorpios. I that was actually just I did not know that and I just kind of went into it. But now I'm just like, maybe if I do another research project,
Yeah,
Tauruses only,
Tauruses only. But,
bitches only.
I was so excited about this topic because again, like there's so much, well, first of all, like music history, but then also like queer music history that probably a lot of people don't know that I don't know. So it was really cool to hear about these people, their lives, all the cool things they did, how they pushed the boundaries.
Yeah.
Um,
All the
so
drag
I
they
don't know.
did and the marriages they broke up and the
The rooms they set on fire.
yeah. Show everybody the wonderful world of Julie Dauvigny, drag king
She's
censored.
she's my new obsession. But then
Yeah.
also like even if you look at Wendy, like, EDM and, like, electronic music and house music is a big part of gay
Yeah.
culture too. So, like, to
Yeah.
see that kind of even influence pull into today and stuff like that, I don't know, it
It
just was
was
this was such an
yeah.
interesting topic.
Yeah. She's that girl. Well, it's been wonderful having you here, Guy.
Thanks for having me. The wonderful things, and thank you for
Yeah.
your research. Thank you for shedding light on them,
Yeah.
so
Instead of WWJD, which would I guess conventionally be what would Jesus do? What would Julie do?
set the room on fire and then duel somebody. So
Yeah, don't somebody almost kill them, nurse them back to health, then hook up with them.
then yes.
And then be sentenced to death by burning, but then get pardoned and then become an opera singer.
I mean,
What would
and
Julie do?
that's what's up, so
Yep. All right.
thanks,
Well, it's been
Abby.
such a fun episode, and I will be seeing you guys next time. So, bye.